One of the things I see failing unheard entrepreneurs do all the time is take zero consideration into how they're going to be selling their stuff. They create content for the sake of creating content, and they create webinars and sales funnels just educating, teaching, because they think if they add more value, then people will buy. They never take into consideration how to use influence, persuasion, and actually create demand. In fact, I just gave a talk, and the first 5 minutes was just setting up the rest of my talk to create massive demand and capture people's attention for what I was going to talk about in the remainder of that call. And what I want to do in under 10 minutes is show you exactly how you can do the same thing in your content, webinars, or sales funnels. So let's go over to the computer and check it out.
All right, in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how to start creating demand. You can use this with content. You can use this with talks, with presentations, with emails. Basically, I'm going to show you exactly the format I'm going to do and we use for almost anything. Now, the problem is, and you might be experiencing this, is when people put out content, they don't actually create demand for a program. They don't create demand for what they're about to teach. They just start teaching and educating, and that's fine. Like, that is one way to add value, but the biggest way to add value into someone's life and shift the perspective that is causing suffering in their life. You know, if someone thinks that working hard guarantees success and they work their butt off and then they aren't successful, holding onto that belief doesn't serve them. You know, and if everyone who worked hard was, guaranteed success, then everyone who worked hard in their life would be successful. And we all know that's not the case. So let's get into it and show you guys how to create demand. Now, before I start, what I want to do is I want to ask you a question. You can leave this underneath the chat box or somewhere around this video, but I want you to think about how you're going to sell your product or your service. Do you actually know how you're going to sell your product and your service? Leave a comment and let me know. Now, you should know how you're going to, or a way to do it. So there's webinars and video series and challenges and ads to applications, and there's a lot of ways to sell your products and your service. So think of a way right now that you know you're either going to use, or you know that you are going to use in the future, or that you currently are using. Now, the next question is, do you know a way to build an audience? And are you currently using a way to build an audience? So what I want you to do is to leave it underneath this video or around this video, or just think to yourself, how am I going to build my audience, or what am I currently doing to build my audience? So there's video, there's podcasting, there's blogging. There's a lot of different ways to build an audience. And so I want you to think of the way you're going to use or the way you are going to use. So let's recap. So far, you have identified the way you are or going to sell your product or service, and you've also identified how you're building your audience, and you've also identified what you're going to do to build your audience if you have not started yet. Now, this is really important, so pay attention right here. What I want you to do next is I want you to think about, have you seen people using the same tactics as you, but they're getting bigger and better results than you? Think about that right now. So let's say you chose webinars as how you're going to sell your stuff, and you chose video. Are there people using webinars, and then are there people using video that are getting bigger results? Are you using the same strategies as other people, but they're getting bigger results than you? And I get it. You could sit here and tell me, well, Brandon, of course I do, like obviously, but they have a bigger audience. That's why they get more sales. But how do you think they got a bigger audience? They're using the exact same strategies that you are. And you could sit here and say, well, they've been around longer than me. So are you really saying that there's never been anyone ever in the history of this planet that has used the same tactics you're thinking of and have gotten faster and better results than you? Is that really what you're saying? So I think we can all agree that it's not the tactics being the reason that you don't have the results, because there's people out there using the same sales tactics and audience growth tactics as you, but they're getting better results. So what's the missing link? You're using the same strategy as they are, but you're getting result A, they're getting result B. What is that missing link? Why? If it was just a strategy that you needed to build an audience and just a strategy that you needed to get more sales, why is there such drastic results? You know, if it was just strategies, then everyone who used the same strategy would have the same exact results and see success, but that's just not the case. So what is it? Well, it's messaging, it's influence, it's persuasion, it's copy, it's leading, it's basically communication. And really, you don't know how to sell, because selling comes down to communication. Are you properly learning how to create demand? Are you probably using ethical influence and persuasion? Basically, the human mind processes information in pretty much all the same way. Humans are way more wired to avoid pain than we are to seek pleasure, right? So if I said, hey, go run 5 miles right now, and if you don't, I'm going to take away $10,000 from you. Or I said, hey, go run 5 miles and I'm going to give you $10,000. You're probably way more likely to do it if I said I was going to take away $10,000 or even $1,000, because we don't want to lose it, right? Because we're way more motivated by pain. So Learning how the human mind actually processes information can be one of the things that makes any tactic come to life, any sales funnel come to life. If you don't have the results you want, it's probably because you haven't properly learned how to communicate what it is that you do. Okay? So how many of you have ever thought, and you guys can just put yes in the comments underneath this video, my stuff is good. Why aren't people buying? Why are they watching that person when my content is better? Why aren't my conversions higher? I can help people, so why don't they let me help? Why isn't this growing? Look, I can fix you guys, and I'm really glad I get to, because what I'm going to give you today and what you're going to get from basically this video is the beginning steps to learning how to create demand. That way you can actually get people to pay attention to what you're talking about. Because if you're watching this video, you're probably someone who's wanting to make an impact. You're probably someone who's ethical. You're probably someone who wants to improve people's lives. That's why you're here on my video, because I'm that same type of person. And what I really want you to do is to look at, if you guys don't actually pay attention to what's going on in this video, you don't change your communication, you don't start using influence persuasion, what's going to happen to your business? What's your business going to look like? And how really are you going to grow? If you keep doing the same thing, hopping from course to course to course to course to course without fixing the core problem, what's going to happen to your business? Basically, you are in business where you are right now. Today, you are where you are today because of the knowledge right between your head. And if you continue to only use the knowledge that you have right now, you're going to stay right where you are. Right now, you know everything you need to know to be exactly where you are right now. So again, if there's any ounce of ego or like, Brandon, I already know this, or I already know influence persuasion, I already know how to create demand, I already know, I'm not ready for this, then really ask yourself if you're committed to the next level. Because I can give you guys the knowledge to unlock that next level for you today in this presentation and in this video. So how many of you guys are excited? I'm going to break down the formula right now. And basically, I'm going to start by showing you what I just did in this video. This actually was a beginning of a presentation that I do for a lot of my friends and a lot of the people I mastermind with, and I do this for their audience. And I want you to see how I actually started this presentation so you can see the importance of what I'm about to teach you. Because I basically created demand for the stuff that's going to be in this presentation. I basically created demand for all the influence, persuasion, and stuff like that that I wanted to teach. Now imagine if you did this in your content, but your course was the thing you're creating demand for. How much more powerful would your content be? If all of your content basically did what I just did in the last 6 minutes, what I just did in the last 6 minutes, if you did that in all of your content from here on out while adding value, how many more sales do you think you're going to make? See, this is what most people miss. Most people miss that your content needs to be creating demand, and they don't know how to actually create demand with content. So let's show you how I opened up this presentation. First, what I did is I got you to realize that you already know a strategy to sell. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to teach you influence, I want to teach you persuasion, and I wanted to get you to this slide right here. And I knew that if you needed more sales in your business, you could say, Brandon, I don't need to learn this. I just need a strategy. So what I got you to do is to realize that you already know a strategy to actually generate sales. And that way you couldn't tell me you didn't have a strategy or you lacked a strategy. That's why you don't have the results you want. Then I got you to realize that even if you're doing well, like Brandon, I already have a strategy, it's working well, that you still have more to learn because people are doing the same thing as you, using the same strategy, but they're getting better results. So now you couldn't use this excuse against me. Brandon, I'm doing fine. I don't need this. Brandon, I'm doing $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. I don't need to listen to you. I already know my strategy. I got you to realize that you know a strategy, number one, and number two, people using the same strategy as you are getting better results. So I created further demand by getting you to think about what's going to happen if you don't fix it. So not only did I get you to recognize you already know strategies for audience growth and for sales, then I got you to compare yourself to other people so that I created a demand gap like you're here, they're over there. Why is that? Which allowed me the opportunity to lay down my positioning or my process or my solution, which was influence, persuasion, and messaging. And then I got to further create that demand gap by putting you into pain by asking what's going to happen if you don't fix the business. I agitate the pain a little bit. Then I got you to acknowledge that you're excited about the training so that when I showed you this slide and how I led you to be right where I want you, you won't be mad at me. And that way you would see how well this works. Now, with that said, could this be used for bad? Sure, it probably could. And a lot of people do use it for bad. And there's a lot of people that, use it to try to manipulate and all that sorts of thing. But at the end of the day, communication is key. And if I can give you the tools to ethically use it so that you can shift people's perspectives, you can end suffering in their lives, you can improve them with your courses and your products, then I know I'm doing something good. And so if you guys love this and you want to see more of this and you want to see how can I start incorporating this into my content, how can I start shifting and improving people's lives? How can I impact the world? How can I impact people with my courses, my training? Well, we have a free training going on right now called the Content Revolution that you guys can get underneath this video. We'll walk you through the processes. How do we identify beliefs that we can bust? How do we shift perspectives? How do we put it into content? How do we get that strategy out there in the world so that people are actually seeing it? And how do we get the right message to the right person at the right time? Well, click the link underneath this video and go get it right now. And I'm at 9 minutes and 52 seconds, so I'm right under the 10-minute mark. So go do it now. That's how you can start to create demand in under 10 minutes. So go get it now, and I'll see you guys there.
So remember, adding value and educating can only take you so far. If you're not learning how to remove objections, create demand, and thinking 5 steps ahead of where you're going to be taking someone, your content and your sales funnels can only take you so far. So if you want to learn how to get more influence, more persuasion, and create more demand, click the link around this video and grab our free training or free guide right now.